What up, everyone? Me and XP back with another episode of Jazzy Talk, where we talk all things jazzy. First and foremost, I wanted to thank my previous guest, Cedric from Arcade, for coming on and congratulate him on what appeared to be a mostly successful Jazzy Ranking event at Arcade, kicking us off on this exciting season 5 of Jazzy Circuit. Tonight, I welcome three-time Jazzy finalist, North Carolina TO, uh, Third Strike icon, uh, FlannelJack to the show. Uh, FlannelJack, for those of you who don't know, is a longtime member of the Third Strike community, and he's come on the show to talk a little bit about his experiences as a competitor and a TO, as well as what's going on in the North Carolina Third Strike scene, namely 10 Frame Fridays, an event that's going down this Friday, right? Or, yep, this Friday. This Friday. Out in Greensboro. Shout outs to Brandometry for putting it together with FlannelJack. And so, first ever Jazzy Ranking event at 10 Frame Fridays. And so, yes, welcome FlannelJack. And, yep, tell us a little bit more about kind of, how you're feeling about Jazzy Season 5.
I'm excited. I'm very, very excited for season 5. I think this season is the season I've been most excited for. And at this point, I've been involved. So I wasn't around for season 1. I forget exactly why that was, but just from season 2 on, I've been involved. And each season has gotten a little bit more exciting, a little bit more fun. Um, but I feel like this season takes the cake for me as far as my enthusiasm for it. I wish I was. I think it's only 2 times for me.
Was
I
it?
was,
No.
Austin and then
Oh,
last year.
oh, two-time Jazzy finalist, right? No, wait. Was it? Oh, well, no doubt you might make a third time this season.
I
Who
hope.
knows?
I hope. I hope.
Why did I think it was a? Why did I think you were a three-time Jazzy finalist?
I don't know. I wish I was. I definitely wish I was.
All right, well, we're gonna have to double check that, but you're probably right, and I'm probably wrong because I'm older. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about just kind of your history as a competitor and a TO in the scene. Like, how did fighting games kind of find you, or how did you find fighting games?
For sure. Like everyone, I had it, or at least in our age bracket, right? I had Super Nintendo. Mortal Kombat was the fight. If you weren't playing Street Fighter, you were playing Mortal Kombat as far as fighters go. And my first fighter that I owned was MK2, and I fell in love with the genre. I love my Mario's, I love my Pokemons, but there's nothing like fighting games for me. And that love persisted all the way through to my high school years. And I know I grew up in New York City, Manhattan specifically, like a 25-minute walk from CF. Um, and everyone I hung out with, because I went to middle school in Chinatown, Sunny at Sun, IS 131, which itself is like what, 10 minutes from CF, something like that. So I kept getting exposed to the scene and the genre, and then of course I came across the Daigo video, and then life changed. That and the Proxicide Newgrounds videos, if you recall those, the MK versus SF ones, and I kind of really had a further awakening as far as my love for the genre. Then I found out about local tournaments and whatnot. So I think my first one was out at like Bulletproof Comics in Brooklyn, back in like 2006, 2007, something like that. Uh, got double limited by, or not double limited, just the way the bracket worked was really funky. It wasn't traditional double lim rules. But Henry Sen, the first time I ever saw anyone on a stick, we were all using PS2 pads, and he was the only motherfucker with a stick, and he beat us all. And then I was like, okay, this is different. And then I think I went to another tournament somewhere in Manhattan near like Cooper Union, and that's where I met like Anti Shoto, and I think Walter Padilla was there. And that was like kind of an exposure through that. And then throughout the years, I would come and go. Street Fighter 4 came, and then when I was out living in Massachusetts, I was still really loved Street Fighter 4, but it was kind of dying down. And then tits. This is Third Strike started becoming a thing. And so when I was at work every morning, I would watch you guys like podcasts and whatnot. And I was there. I need to get back in the scene and start playing Third Strike again. And so to me, there was nothing in the local area, at least where I was at in college, the Amherst area. Funny enough, I would find Alex Smith, who's like a New England stalwart. If anyone who's in New England loves Guilty Gear, they probably know Alex Smith, the Massachusetts player. And I got connected with him and some of the other guys, and then through them, I found out there was actually a really vibrant and healthy scene in the Boston area that Lucky D was running. And so I kind of ran sessions throughout my house in Massachusetts, and that's how I started coming out to the TIFF events up and down the East Coast. So I think I went to Defend the North, and I went to the what's it called, Northeast Championships. I went to that back in King of Prussia, and then I kind of stayed in the scene. Went to different things here and there, and then I traveled to Europe for a while, and I connected with the UK and French scenes out there. Had a great time, and then when I moved back to the States, I settled in North Carolina, where I fell in love with Lost Ark video games. And I think the rest is history from there, right? For the last 6 years, I've kind of just been building the scene down here, both in North Carolina and then in the regions around that as well, doing my best to help the Southeast stand up in a variety of campaigns and missions. And that's kind of where I am now, both as I've grown dramatically as a player and as a TO and as a person because of Third Strike. And that's kind of a brief synopsis of my journey.
I kind of wanted to circle back to that. Wanted to ask you, like, when did you, or how did you know? Because you were talking about our age bracket. Anyone who had organized fighting game tournaments back in those days, we were, I guess you could call a, no pun intended, flannel jack of all trades, right? Like we did like multiple things that are now actual roles.
Yeah.
And but if you ran tournaments back when we ran tournaments, everything,
Yeah.
whether it was running brackets or promoting or creating artwork or banners or things of that nature, like we did everything. And so like where did that like come from with you? Like how did you know that you liked doing that sort of stuff? Because like that's beyond fighting games, you know what I mean? But like how did you know that you liked kind of doing that thing?
I'm a very creative person.
Mm-hmm.
I always have been. And I wanted to be like a comic book writer as a kid, and eventually, you and I were both huge wrestling fans, and at some point, I wanted to be a wrestling booker.
It can still happen.
And it can still
It
happen,
can
yeah.
still happen.
You
Go
know,
to your
I
local indie and go, hey, can I book a match? Like just
yeah,
put it off, kick it off your bucket list.
I
It'll
probably
probably be
should do
just
that.
like, a lower card match. Just be like, hey, can I just book this match?
Yeah.
What
But
am
yeah,
I doing?
I've always been artistic. That's kind of I've always been that way.
Yeah.
And then when I showed up in North Carolina, so when I was doing it in Massachusetts, I did kind of the art, but that was it. It wasn't how it would become when I moved down here. And when I moved down here, I have all the love in the world for the players who took me in when I got here. But they had been at that point when I arrived, they had become burnt out at trying to prop up the scene. And everyone goes through that. Lord knows I've been through several periods of that. But I had a vision for how I wanted it to look, and I didn't really have anyone else around me who was as passionate about the game as I was. Um, and I would admit I'm probably a little bit of a control freak as well. So I'm very much of a believer of if you need to do something right, do it yourself. And so I just did everything myself, and it was a way just to learn how to do everything, right? So there were tournaments where I was running the stream, doing commentary, running the bracket, and then playing. Um, and then doing decently well all of those, right? I do think that doing all those at the same time, and the social media, right? Like you know what it's like, and so I think that definitely slowed my progress as a player, and often skewed the results I would get in bracket because my mind was split 5 different ways. But I really loved what I was doing. I believed in it. I don't think there's anything as cool as fighting games and the fighting game community, especially at the grassroots level. There's just nothing as cool as it. I remember thinking that at season 2 when 5 Star won, and we were all just like going nuts in the room. And I was thinking to myself, despite how the weekend has gone, there's nothing as cool as this moment right now. Nothing. And so because of that passion, because of that creativity, I wanted to learn how to do it and do it all. And so I did.
Not to get too much of on a tangent, but I you actually got me thinking about that moment at the Invitational where a 5 star parried the in Asian day. And like when I look back on it, we got so hype, but like we've seen that before.
Yeah.
We've seen that countless times.
Hmm.
But it was special not because of just what 5 star and they did, but
Hmm.
where they did it. And
Hmm.
so I think it's really cool that TOs like yourself want to continue giving that to players, that platform, that arena, so that this really sick parry that technically we've seen a lot of times, but it's done in that stage, and I think that's really
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing like it. Um, I, as I've gotten older in life, I used to have so many hobbies when I was younger.
mhm.
But as I've gotten older in life, it's kind of boiled down to mostly wrestling and Third Strike and a few other things here and there. Um, but there's something about Third Strike, right? Like people are like, "Oh, here, try this new game." And I listen, Street Fighter 6 looks super cool, and Ken's top tier, so I should be playing it, right? Um, and every other game that I like, you and I have chatted about how we like Gauru, we like ST, Vampire. But there's something about Third Strike that I just captures my imagination like nothing else. And I want to continue sharing it. At this point now, I've been in the scene coming on like, my God, 20 years, right? I think you're at that point already too. Um, and just right, like it's just ingrained in who I am, and I come and go like wrestling, right? Like I didn't really watch a little bit after the Ruthless Aggression era, and then I would come back during the Shawn Taker matches, and I would leave again when Punk left the company. Then I would come back during different eras, and so you kind of have this it's kind of this mistress of pain. You'll always love it. It's not always requited that love, but you can't always leave it for too long. So yeah, it's who I am. It's who you are. It's who we are, and we just have to keep it alive in some way. And I think through many efforts of I think I've about this before. So many generations of American Trek. I would love someone to do a documentary about the culture of U.S. Star Trek, like they did that Smash documentary, because there's been so many waves of this game, um, just like thrusting over one of each other to get to this point where arguably now it's larger and healthier than it ever has been in this country. Let's not talk about Japan, the rest of the world, but arguably in America right now, you log on to FightKit and any given night, there's 200 plus players on. And granted, there's people players from other countries, of course, than that, but largely North America. Um, and so yeah, it has to keep going. I can't imagine a world where you know, I, I flirted with fatherhood here and there, and every scenario, I imagine having my baby. When it's my day to carry my baby, and I have to worry about it when my wife is out like doing girl shit, I'm going to the arcade, and my baby's gonna be wrapped in a sling around my chest while I'm hitting buttons, right? Like that's where my kid's gonna grow up in an arcade. Um, so yeah, that's kind of it. It's just, this is our lifestyle.
speaking of that future generation. Tell me a little bit about the health of the North Carolina third strike scene and just the Southeast in general. I noticed in recent years there's definitely been a resurgence of interest in third strike in that region, and I think it's really cool to see, especially what happened with final round because of the pandemic. And so I kind of see this as almost like a Phoenix storyline type deal with Southeast, not just for Third Strike, but I think for other games too. And so just tell me a little bit about North Carolina Third Strike and just the larger FGC out there now.
Sure. North Carolina Third Strike's an interesting place where the game is not. It's in a little bit of a recession, um, but I think necessarily so. Right? Third Strike survives. When everyone got bored of four at the end of its life, what game did they play? They played Third Strike. When everyone got bored of five, where did they go back to? They went back to third strike. The 6 is new. It's new hot shit, right? 8 is about to drop. And so North Carolina third strike has always kind of exceeded or succeeded off the back of different demographics. One, the core third strike group, which we all know is me, the OGs, and a few other players. And then the new generation of Street Fighter players, whether it be 4 or 5, now 6, they always are curious about third. And so that's a great way to draw new players. But Tekken has also been a huge pool where we draw new players from. And so in this new era where there's 6 and 8, it's hard to find a place where third strike thrives in the way that it was when it was the top game in the state, right? There was a period of time in North Carolina where the top games were Tekken 8 or Tekken 7 and third strike. And then the third game around that will be either 5 or then when Strive came out, Strive was the other top game. But third has, through a lot of my efforts in the last 6 years, has enjoyed this position at top of the card as far as entrance and whatnot, and just attention and all these things. But I remember going into the last Jazzy finale. I knew, so at the time, I was good. I knew I was going to be taking a sabbatical afterwards for things going on in my personal life. And so it became this kind of exclamation point on if I wasn't going to come back, it was my exclamation point on everything that I had done over the last 6 years. As far as, hey, I could be a really competitive player. Hey, everyone around me, they're competitive players, and my scene in my state. Yes, we love New York. Yes, we love California. Yes, we love Texas and Chicago. But God damn it, North Carolina's here too. Don't you forget about us. And I felt like this year's Jazzy was that, right? Tom did really well. I did decently well. Firewall bodied Chiridi in the team tournament, right? Like NC came out, baby. The Southeast came out for that season. I felt like it was the best that we'd ever done. And then I took a break, and whenever I take a break, Dirt Track tends to get quiet in our state, right? Like the much love to the Oak City esports guys out in Raleigh that run Tournament Thrones and their weekly sessions, and they carry the banner with their monthlies in Raleigh and in Wilmington. But it doesn't enjoy the same amount of attention as when I'm really actively in the mix, just because of how insanely obsessive I am about the game, right? I don't shut up about it. And so of course it becomes loud because I'm so loud myself, right? But Third Strike right now in North Carolina is at a place where the sessions in Charlotte, the Super Bari sessions, are really competitive, right? We go, we drink, we play, we have a great time, but we are all getting better. It's the best version of all those players I've ever seen. And lucky enough that sometimes Tom and Fran and Faith will come out to join the sessions. Greensboro is kind of quiet because I haven't been doing anything there. There are players in Greensboro that are decent at the game. Borowski's on his grown man, getting married, having baby stuff. Like Sneak is also doing that with his second child. And then every other player who would play Third Strike is playing, Tekken 7 as it ends and is getting ready for Tekken 8, or, is playing Street Fighter 6 while I've been away. And then Raleigh kind of has this thing in Wilmington. Shout out to Fresh and Turtle Wax, the Wilmington boys trying to get their scene started. So it's kind of been a quiet recession, but around us, as we warm up to get ready for this new Jazzy season, I had been doing work for the rest with the other Southeast regions for a while since I got here, right? I worked with Atlanta a lot. Shout out to Marco. We'll touch back on Max Mode in a moment because you were talking about the resurgence at Phoenix storyline. I'd done work with the Southwest Virginia guys. I'd done work with the South Carolina guys. I'd done work with the Atlanta guys trying to, build something. And they've all gone through various periods of waxing and waning as far as popularity of the game and activity of the game in the time that I've been here. And while North Carolina's kind of been the standard for Southeast Star Trek for the last 6 years, those scenes have been kind of inching along. And I thought that at the end of last season, Atlanta was like really more feverish about the game, especially with the new generation players who were coming in, like Roshi and those guys. Well, the old stalwarts were still there, like Dirty Llama. And then the South Carolina boy, like Troy was traveling like a madman, right? Like it was so cool to see Troy back on the tournament circuit with new players in tow coming out of the Charleston area. And even the Anderson players as well, Herb Durkin and whatnot. So we were last season saw the other scenes started coming back, like seeing the Tennessee boys with Johnny the Flash doing stuff and GD and those guys out there, and a flow that awesome deadly had a new there were other scenes that were coming back, and now going into this new season of season 5, North Carolina kind of at this low. But we're back, and we have 3 events ready for the first month, ready right out the rock, right out the start, right out the gate. And then we have South Carolina doing stuff. And we have, Marco doing, picking up the baton of final round, doing max mode, as well as coming back with the +2 and block series that they're famous for. But Georgia's back at it, and now we have, that really cool Anderson scene being pushed by Top Hat Otter, and then we have the Rev Run Arcade at Monk's Corner, and so suddenly now we have the Tri-State Circuit. That's really exciting, and hopefully Tennessee gets in here, and I know the Florida boys are watching. And then on top of that, we have the Southeast Throwdown, which Jimbo and Troy founded and has been doing awesome things. And so now this kind of perfect storm of like North Carolina has been here, we've been the Rock, while the rest of the scenes were kind of quiet, and now we're all coming back at the same time, and it's so exciting. And so that's what I'm really, really, really looking forward to is I'm involved in everything the Southeast is doing going forward, right? Like I'll be, I was lucky enough that Jimbo and Troy brought me in to help launch around the Southeast. I took a break during my sabbatical, but now I'm back. I came back to play last week, and I'll be back as part of the management team doing commentary for the amazing online event tomorrow. And then we're doing everything else this week. So we have 10 frame in Greensboro that I'm running, working with brandometry and the rest of that team, Surging Storm and whatnot, as we push the Greensboro. Because like if anything, while Greensboro was quiet, it felt like Greensboro was the heart of North Carolina Third Track for so long. With the lucky venue that we had, lots of video games, and it feels like the Southeast and North Carolina, it should kick off in Greensboro, and then we pass off the baton to everyone else to also kill it. And so yeah, it's been a resurgence. I hope Marco's successful with Max Mode. I hope that becomes the true final round successor that we've all been begging for. And I know Marco's been working on this for a long time. The leader of Data FGC. He's awesome. He's dedicated. He has phenomenal resources and connections, and I really think that could be special. So I'm really looking forward to that. Being a big dirt track event, a big way for the Southeast to come together and get an MSF tier event because we deserve one. And so yeah, that's kind of it. Is North Carolina waxes and wanes as do the rest of the scenes, but right now we're on this whole rising tide that the rest of the country is on. But Southeast as well. It's exciting. It's exciting.
I want to talk about 2 more things. Number 1, you had mentioned your experience at the finale.
Mm-hmm.
So just tell me a little bit about just kind of more about how it went for you. You had already talked a little bit about how you going in there and wanted to, like you had said, put an exclamation point on this phase of your third strike journey. But just as just kind of the weekend, and like you said, there were a lot of players from North Carolina. Just kind of talk to me more about the vibe there and how you were feeling.
Absolutely. This last one in Westminster, Colorado, was my 3rd Jazzy Circuit or Jazzy Finale that I've been present for. And so it's so much, right? It's like, oh yeah, it's me. I'm going out to celebrate and play this game that I love, and hang out with my homies from the locals, right? And we all go out together. But at the same time, I have been lucky enough to have traveled to other scenes a decent amount, right? Like I did that road trip where I hit up a lot of the scenes that I had either seen before, had connections with, or had never seen before. And so going to the finale was like a big reunion, right? Seeing everyone I haven't seen in months, or people I've only known online, and now meeting for the first time. Like Poe, bro, Poe's the homie. Like I'd never met him before. I barely knew who he was, but now I can't imagine life without him. He's so fucking cool. Same thing for Insomniac Robot and LaRusso Stomper, right? Like I didn't know who he was, kind of know who he was, and now I met him. Now he's the homie, and then I got to kick it with the Chicago boys who I love, and I love the DFW boys. Like Wax is, I love Wax so much, and so it's a big, but also it's really stressful. because we're all there to put our balls on the table and fucking show what we've got. And so it's really, really stressful. And there are moments of that, right? There are moments of, God, he's the homie, but God damn it, like, no, he's not right now, right? And it becomes really, really tense. And so you're walking into the lion's den, you're walking into the tiger's den, you're walking into the dragon's nest. This is the creme de la creme. This is the cream of the crop. This is the motherfuckers who never stop playing this old as fuck game, right? And so I feel like I've gotten by on goodwill from the scene because I've shown immense dedication and immense desire and immense drive to build the scene. And so I have respect through that. But there's difference of having respect as a TO and there's having the respect as a player. Very, very different. And I was after that this time around. And you have to do well. You have to compose yourself. Like I remember going up. This is a little bit inside baseball, but I woke up that day at 4 a.m. in a bit of a panic, right? Because I was aware of the 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 small controversies around my qualification and what people were saying, and so I woke up that morning in a bit of a panic. Um, Not too much so, but I know enough so that I had to like really game plan how my day was going to go. I had to be able to manage my energy. I had to be able to manage my emotions. I had to be able to manage my expectations, both that I had and those that were expected of me. And so I had to create a game plan for that day and how to manage everything, um, and how I wanted to present it myself. And so I remember deciding really early on, like I had created contingencies in my mind about, okay, if I can't get 5-star, who would I pick, right? And it was probably going to be a matchup that I know locally, but I knew in my heart that the only way to make that kind of exclamation point as a player um, was to call a 5-star. And like, there's no other place to really do that. Like, you can do it in the online tournaments, you can do it in the auto qualifiers, but if you're going to make a point as a player, the Jazzy finale is really the place. And so it becomes this amazing weekend of catching up with friends, getting fucked up, playing your favorite game, but also the highest level play you can find anywhere in the United States. And so it's everything.
It's funny you mentioned 5-star because at the season 3 Jazzy finale, at the end of that tournament, a lot of the discussion was just how the overall level of third strike skill in this country has gotten to a certain point where there's a good pool of players that any given Sunday could take it. And the fact that you went out there and you challenged 5-star and you gave him a competitive match is just proof of that. And I know this is Jazzy Talk. I know we're supposed to focus on TOs and we're gonna hype up 10 Frame Fridays again. But we would be remiss if we did not revisit, I think it's safe to say, the most hype moment of the season 4 finale. Not sure if you've actually done this live yet or through any other medium as far as watching the footage back. I don't even know if
Oh,
you've watched the footage of the match back yourself, but I think,
yeah.
and people in the chat are already talking about it. And by the way, passes to the Jazzy finale are available now. And so if you want to join us and play Third Strike on real arcade hardware, come on through. But again, we would be remiss if we didn't, sort of take a trip down memory lane, so to speak, and revisit your match versus Lance at the Jazzy finale. And so, are you
Sure.
down for that, FlannelJack?
Let's have fun.
Okay, all
Sounds like a good
right.
time.
All right, so here we go. And so, shout outs to, I believe at this point it was Arliath and Duralath on the ones and twos. And so, shout outs to them for providing this commentary here. And hopefully, you can hear it. If not, well, we can just enjoy FlannelJack's commentary as he watches the match back. But this is a match between FlannelJack and Lance, and the two of you are both in losers, and so even more pressure. And so this is how your set turned out. And so let's go ahead and watch the footage back.
Versus North Carolina.
Oh, sorry, that's right. Lance is Texas.
Can everyone hear it?
All right, Lance
People should be able to
immediately
hear it.
locking in Super 2.
While FlannelJack loosening up.
Right. All right, game 1. Here we go.
You probably can't hear it, FlannelJack, but I'm pretty sure the stream can hear it.
Let's see if
well, as long as they
Yeah.
can hear.
All right. You know, one of the things that I remembered about this match is how the outcome of the match could have turned on just a few interactions.
Mhm.
Don't know how much he's been studying
So,
how Lance fights.
Oh, this first game,
Good zoning.
I'm so embarrassed of it.
Lance is
I mean, you know,
doesn't even need the burning meter.
and kudos to Lance doing what he's supposed to do. Build that meter. If you're not going to block, then good stuff.
FlannelJack has not been able to seal.
And now Lance is in prime position to win the whole game.
Yeah. So Lance, I've only played Lance a handful of times, and it's always destruction against me. And so I don't really have an answer for his style of Chun, not that I've experienced it much. And so this is just me trying to get my groundings, like, because one of my training partners is bird kicks, and I have experience against face as well. So I'm doing my best here just to affect anything, but he just has my number in this first game. But here's where it changes. You can't hear anything, but around this time, Eat, who's in the background, you see him, the homie Eat, starts screaming at me, play footsies, just calm down, play footsies. And so you'll see me just like nodding, and I'm just taking in Eat's advice and just trying to slow down and relax. But I also at this moment know that I have to turn it on. I need to do something because I don't want to go out like this.
So that's what you notice. Max range roundhouse, Chun Ken 101, right? The max range sweep. And so already you start actually, you know, because you gotta touch the Chun up a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So Lance noticed looking for dead, not wanting to build meters, so he whiffed the short, but then you ended up shoryuing it, just like little, like slight interactions like that.
Yeah.
If FlannelJack can force.
Once Lance learns how to whiff punish crouching medium kick with raw super, we're all in trouble. Oh my goodness.
Lance not gonna burn it just yet. I mean, he's not gonna burn it. He's not gonna burn it. All right, but FlannelJack showing some life.
All right, so what's the mix up here? Okay.
All right, Lance on 2 supers. Okay, here we go.
So he jumps way too early for a mix-up there because Chun's
Nice whiff punish.
wake-up speed.
That was a sick whiff punish. So even though you lost that round, did you draw any like confidence when that whiff punish? Like, oh yeah, I can play footsies, like what you was saying, or were we just kind of in the moment and just kind of following his advice?
I felt like it was infinitely more competitive than the 2 rounds that preceded it. Right?
So this is where we got a little lucky, you know, 3S gods. Sometimes, you know, you have to chalk it up to the 3S gods.
So yeah, FlannelJack might have to come up with a frame kill on the spot. After post super.
Lance starts to.
Left, right, but he's still able to short you. Nice.
All right, here we go.
Still alive.
All right, signs of life from FlannelJack. He still has to deal with the zoning.
And so this is the round where you just are super aggressive, right? And so tell me what you're thinking about during this round, or are you just locked in?
I don't want to get parried, so I'm doing everything I can to make him think I'm going one way while I go another.
Okay. And of course, the taunt kill to secure the second game. I'm going nuts. Everyone in the arcade is going nuts. And so tell me a little bit about that taunt. Like, what were you trying to do there? And
absolutely. So like I alluded to earlier, I woke up kind of in that panic in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about I wanted to do something that was going to make a statement. And so what I was thinking about was my evil twin, my doppelganger, food stamps. He constantly tries to embarrass me. And everything that we do, especially in game. And so I can't tell you how many times he's killed me with taunt. Franco. And so I remember deciding that morning that I wanted to do something.
Look at Lance getting hype here in the video.
Yeah. I enjoyed that. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to do something Franco-esque. And I needed something I needed something, and in that moment, that just seemed like what I needed to do, and so I did it.
Yeah, and if you didn't hit this misconfirm there, you could have, you
I
know,
know.
you could have taken
I
this
know.
this round, and then yeah.
Bro.
So,
5-star came up to me and gave me so much shit afterwards about how this last game went, and rightfully so. Like, I could have taken this game had I could have taken this set had I just had a few better punishes.
yeah.
Elimination point right here for the two of them.
So and so that's
Oh gosh, before nothing.
were you crouching or standing? Okay, there you go. The misconfirm.
And then no punish.
Yeah.
That could have been it.
Oh my gosh.
You know, if you want to be super lame, and shout outs to Paulie, you don't even have to parry the last hit. You can block the entire thing and then dash up and then strong fierce fireball super.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
FlannelJack needs one hit.
It's like everyone parries the last hit. But you can do anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and again, that match could have gone like either way. I thought it was super competitive. Again, like I was saying earlier, I felt like the story of that match was like it was like the epitome of what makes Dirt Strike great. You know what I mean? Like you had the advantage, then he had the advantage, and then there were moments where what timeline's going to open up, and it's those interactions. Like, what if you didn't miss your punish? Like, what if Lance hit a confirm in that second game? Then your comeback would never have happened at all.
Yeah.
So it's really cool,
Yeah. It's kind of funny, and I honestly hope that I meet Lance again. If I somehow qualify again, and it's looking like Lance, coming out with a strong lead with his first place win in Hearst at the arcade tournament. If I hope I see him in Jazzy finale bracket again, because at this time he's eliminated me twice. Did it season 2, season 4. Hopefully, maybe season 5 I'll be able to handle the run back.
Yeah. All right. So before we get out of here, FlannelJack, let's talk a little bit more about 10 Frame Fridays. Again, if you want to see FlannelJack in action, you can catch him at 10 Frame Fridays in Greensboro, North Carolina. And so I'm going to try and bring up the stuff here. And let's see.
Please do. In the meantime, before we even get to 10 Frame, tomorrow, run the Southeast Throwdown, the next Jazzy Online qualifying tournament.
Right.
I'm a part of that management team, but it's really the brainchild, the baby of Gaming with Jimbo and Troy Boy. Boa has been a huge part of it. Boogaloo Boy is now a part of it. Other players have been a part of it, but really Gaming with Jimbo and Troy for really pushing it through. Run the Southeast Throwdown tomorrow. It's going to be a blast. If you want some online Jazzy points, you want to go there. Now let's talk about 10 Frame Fridays. The brainchild of brandometry, my brother, my Greensboro brother. This is his child. His one of his passion projects to really reinvigorate the Greensboro fighting game community, and I believe it's been a smashing success. Whether it's anime, whether it's Street Fighter, whether it's Tekken, this is the spot to be on Friday nights. And Third Strike have often enjoyed a spot here, and no better place to kick off the southeast leg of the Jazzy Circuit than in Greensboro, than in North Carolina at 10 Frame Fridays. $100 pop bonus, free to enter for the game. Still $10 venue, but the game itself is free to enter. 2 PS3 setups, going to be streamed on my stream channel, TND Gaming FGC. Really, North Carolina, Southeast. I know it's a little bit tough. It's a Friday night, but North Carolina, I'm going to be there. Food Stamps is going to be there. People from Charlotte are coming. People from Raleigh might be coming. Guys, you don't want to miss out on 10 Frame Fridays. But beyond that, look at the rest of the month with the other events I'm a part of. The next day, I'm traveling out to Stone Mountain, Georgia for +2 on Block. A lot of the Southeast Killers will be there. I think Herb Durkin's coming out. I think Troy Boy's coming out. I think Gaming and Jimbo is coming out. And then later on, January 20th, Tournament of Thrones out in Raleigh. I'll be there supplying the CPS3s. Burkick should be there. Maybe Saishu, the old Soul line might be coming out. Should be a blast. And then finally, wrapping up the month. I know I'm moving a little bit too fast. I do apologize, Anthony, if I'm moving too fast.
No, you're keeping me on my toes, FJ. I like it.
Yeah. That'll be. Let's see here. What's coming up? What are you gonna pull up for me, brother?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to. You talking about the Tournament of Thrones, and is that gonna be on arcade as well?
Yes, Birdkicks is bringing his CPS3.
Uh-huh.
I'll be bringing my CPS3. It will be so. North Carolina is a state. We've left behind PS4. We've left behind PS3. I know I've been a big proponent of online edition. I know you hate online edition, but I feel like it has its place. It has its place. But yeah, now North Carolina is very fortunate. We have super guns and CPS3s galore. If not that, then we have CAB. So every event in North Carolina is going to be CPS3. Get those max points. So yeah, I'll be there with Birdcakes and other players. And then finally wrapping up the month in Charlotte at Super Abari. Again, like I told you, every Thursday, that's the spot to train in North Carolina if you're trying to get good. The inaugural Super Mario Third Track Tournament. It's going to be heavy hitters. I know we already have 16 entrants. If you look at the entrants now, we have Frank, we have Troy Boy, we have myself. Fantastic. The return of the ace of North Carolina Third Strike to tournament. He is, right? Like, when we had the top 10 rankings, I always called him the ace because he wasn't on the rankings, but when he was here, he was the best.
Yeah, shout outs to Fran
have,
who commentated the first ever Jazzy finale.
Yes, and we'll have Knuckle Dust. Roski might make an appearance. Guys,
Former Jazzy Finalist Knuckle Dust. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So we're really gonna have a good time for the rest of this month. North Carolina Third Strike is happening. We have 3 events, and then we have those other events going on in the Southeast. Don't sleep on us. We're coming. We're coming. Hopefully, we get a couple of qualifiers this time around.
Yeah, and before we get out of here, I just kind of wanted to talk about ranking events in general. One of the things that is really important to the circuit are the ranking events, because we want to try and get as many people to play Third Strike, but also for people out there who are interested in running these type of events, retro games, not just Third Strike, but like retro games, is a good way to kind of dab your toes in it, right, FJ? For the if for people who maybe you're watching and you're thinking, hey, maybe this is something cool that I'd like to pick up. Check out how you can be part of the Jazzy Circuit, run your own ranking event. I think it'll be really cool, and I just wanted to end this episode of FlannelJack by thinking about some of the seasons, the past seasons, where there was a time when you were running 4 ranking events at a time in one season.
Yeah.
And so this is the work, and you were talking earlier about how you are seeing all these other people kind of get energized. Well, that's because of you, and so congratulations on your success, and I appreciate your continued involvement in Jazzy and just the Third Strike scene in general. And we'll see you at 10 Frame Fridays.
Thanks. I want to say a couple of things to what you said. Guys, like being pointed out, if you're a new scene, if you're a new local scene, want to start up, there's so many examples of new scenes starting up over the course of the Jazzy Finale's existence, and there's never been an easier time to get involved. The scene has never been as large as it is now. It's never been as welcoming as it is now. The resources available have not been as available as they are now. So yes, please get on it. And if you're worried about playing in Jazzy, I have been the worst player in the room for years, and somehow I have managed to qualify twice by consistent grinding. That season 2 where I made it, that was when I was doing the all those events per month. I was doing the 3 monthlies for Jazzy, and then another tournament, and then 3 weeklies every week, and I was giving myself to this game. And then this time around again, I grinded, right? Like over the course of season 4, I won tournaments in North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and then maybe I think I played in some Georgia tournaments as well. I think they were not part of the season finale, but I won there as well, right? Like I'm right. You're an NJPW fan, right? You watch a little bit of Japanese wrestling a little bit.
Not so much as I used to, but
are you familiar with the Young Lions, their excursions and whatnot? I'm on my excursion period, right? Like I've done my dojo work locally, and now I'm on my excursion period. So Southeast, beware. If you have an event anywhere in the Southeast, I'm coming to get your points. I'm on my excursion. I'm trying to get it. I am proof that if you grind, if you play, if you keep showing up, you can be with the best. You can play with the best. You can qualify with the best.
Yeah. And like you were saying with your story about 5-star, like the real ones respect that. And so Don't be afraid of the grind, especially if you're interested in picking up a game, whether it's Third Strike or anything else. And so, yeah. And again, like you were saying, FlannelJack, tomorrow we have Southeast Throwdown. Sign-ups close at 6 p.m. Eastern. Tournament starts at 7. It'll be the second Jazzy online event. We're going to be doing 15 of these throughout the season. And the 2 players who earn the most points from those Jazzy online events get complimentary airfare to Jazzy Finale weekend. And also, again, if you're interested in picking up the game, interested in running fighting game events, consider hosting a Jazzy Ranking event. Head over to jazzycircuit.org for more info on you could be part of this season's circuit. And so, once again, this has been Jazzy Talk. Thank you, FJ, for coming on the show. You're always welcome back. There are going to be plenty of events for you to hype up. So, maybe you will come make another appearance on the show. And so we would
hopefully. It's always fun talking to you.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and leave there. But once again, play Third Strike. It's a good game. And I'll see you on the next episode of Jazzy Talk, which is on Thursday. And for Thursday's event, or Thursday's episode, we're going to have a brand new TO running their first ever Jazzy Ranking event at a venue that's never had Jazzy before. Boardman from the SoCal scene going to be running an event out in Southern California, my old stomping grounds. While we're at this page here, it's coming up fairly soon. It'll be this Saturday, Contender Coliseum Clash 7, and they're going to be running a Jazzy Ranking event at the esports arena near Irvine. And so definitely check that out for those of you who are in SoCal. That'll be my next guest on Jazzy Talk this Thursday. All right. So once again, thanks again, FJ, for coming on the show. And
It's a pleasure, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I'll see y'all on Thursday. Take care, everyone.